Ladies and gentlemen, this is the FnG Show.
The FnG Show.
Over a glass of wine.
We haven't broke the glasses yet.
Not yet. Today what we have is James Baldwin. And now Frank was like, James Baldwin, everybody know about James Baldwin.
Yeah, that's what I said.
I had to let him know. Me being a PE teacher / coach, I spoke to a few people there at the school I go to, middle school, and my co-workers. The few that I spoke to did not know who James Baldwin was.
Shame, shame, shame.
A whole classroom that we talked to, no one knew who James Baldwin was. Over 60 kids in this one class that we did, no one knew who James Baldwin was.
And that is the result of because people have decided to say critical race theory is not needed in school because they don't want to talk about Black history anymore. So that's why a lot of people are growing up with no history about what we have done and what we are accomplishing.
As in African American. That's right. So I had to tell them, I said, y'all really don't know? They really didn't know. James Baldwin was born August 2nd, 1924.
Mm-hmm.
And he died December 1st, 1987. Now, a lot of people who I grew up with knew James Baldwin because that's just what we did at the time. We got into the Black stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But he wasn't really in the history books.
Nope.
But let me read some of his accomplishments.
Okay.
He was a novelist, essayist, playwright, poet, and African-American social critic. He explored palpable yet unspoken intricacies of racial, sexual, and class distinctions in Western societies, most notable in mid-20th century America. He's fictionalized fundamental personal questions and dilemmas amid complex social and physiological pressures, thwarting the equitable integration not only of Black people, but also gay and bisexual men, while depicting some internalized obstacles to such individuals' quest for acceptance. Became a spokesman for the Civil Rights Movement in 1963, published a long essay, The Fire Next Time, in which he predicted the outburst of Black anger to come, which we're still dealing with today.
Yeah.
He was a gay Black man, and he lived strongly during the 60s, and he stood by it, and he talked about all men.
Yeah.
Black, white, gay. He talked about it all, but no one knew about him. But they read a lot of his stuff and don't know who this guy is.
Right.
James Baldwin, you got anything you got to say?
Well, he was very part of the Civil Rights Movement, and I do know. I think I recall some specials that I've watched about him that he was definitely involved, but that the Civil Rights Movement really didn't use him a lot because he was. I think he was bisexual or gay. I can't remember which one he was. He may have been bisexual. But they didn't really use him a lot. But behind the scenes, he was extremely pivotal in much of the things going on in the Civil Rights Movement. I've watched videos of James Baldwin talking and sharing about the difficulties that Black men face emotionally. He really dealt with the emotions of Black men, whether they were gay or not. But he really dived into that, and he was diving into it about why we go through the things we go through from the problems of slavery and what that did to us and how it still affects us today. He was talking about that back then. So he was a very intelligent man, and very in-depth.
And that's what get me is because back then, like you were saying, because of his lifestyle, they didn't really want to put him in front. But so when they talked about James Baldwin, they just talked about his writings and stuff like that, and they kept that lifestyle out of it. But nowadays, if you Google him now, that's like one of the first things you see, that he was gay or bisexual, and then it goes into the stuff that he did. If you looked him up back in the day, you had to really dig to find out about his sexual preferences. What we have here, like I said, James Baldwin, if you all want to look this up, we've taken the outs from you. So you don't have to actually go and look up history. We're going to give it to you.
Right.
All you got to do is sit and just watch us.
And if you want these cards, you can go to urbanintellectuals.com and get all of these Black history facts.
So that is it for us and our CRT moment.
CRT moment.
This is the FnG Show
The
over a
FnG
glass
Show.
of wine.
Over a glass of wine.
With that, ladies and gentlemen, we are out.
We're out.